Hey everyone, welcome back to Author Journey. My name is CJ Anaya, and today I am answering another really great question from a great subscriber who's very engaged, and I appreciate that. She asked, what does literary success look like to you? And I really had to think about that because I immediately had so many responses to that. I kind of had to prioritize and figure out, what I really wanted to talk about. Literary success is going to, mean something to completely different to different people. And it all has to do with your why, why you write in the first place. And I'd like to think that my idea of literary success has evolved over the months and years, because originally literary success to me was just actually finishing a book. The idea of actually writing a book and finishing it was such a crazy concept to me. I didn't think I could do it, and so to be able to write a book and finish it and create something that was actually compelling for other people to read, that was important to me, and that to me was success. And then as I realized that I had accomplished that, I was like, well, I'd really like to do more. It moved from being something that I wanted to see if I could do, some kind of hobby. It moved to something a little more serious. And I realized as I was shaping the Healer series, these were the first books that I'd ever worked on. I realized that I did have a goal when it came to writing, because originally it was just going to be fluff. It was just going to be stuff that was entertaining, or that I hope was entertaining. But the more I wrote, the more I realized that I had messages to share with people. I had things that I wanted to accomplish with each book. And so I think that literary success to me is not what most people would think. I'm never going to write the next great American novel. I'm never going to be that author who writes something like The Grapes of Wrath, or, I don't know, Jane Eyre, or, something like that, where people can, review it and be very critical about it and talk about it. It's going to be so controversial. I don't know that I'll ever write anything like that. My goal isn't really to do that, though. My goal is to target teenagers, really, and to make them think about things in their lives, give them some encouragement, give them some guidance, give them some hope, give them, a reason to feel like they're important and that they're needed and that they're special. I wanted to write to entertain people. I wanted to write to help people, but at the end of the day, I realized that I hope at some point while people read my books that they're inspired, and I really want to help teens. And so literary success to me is all about writing something that's going to help and inspire teens at specific crucial moments in their lives. And so if you take a look at The Healer, you'll recognize that there's a theme that plays out throughout the whole thing, and it's all about choice versus destiny. It talks a lot about whether our path is preordained and we don't really have any choices, or whether we do have choices, and what those choices look like, and how they affect others. And Hope goes through this journey of recognizing that she's got a lot of power, and what she does with that power is going to affect everyone in her life. And if she uses it the right way and doesn't abuse it, then specific things are going to fall into place. And if she doesn't, other things are going to fall into place. And it also talks a lot about just the right to choose, the right to make choices for yourself, and how agency is an incredible power that we all have. It's something that we take for granted every day. But the right to choose, the right to make a decision, the freedoms that we have, the freedoms that we celebrate in this country, these are things that not a lot of people had previously in other centuries, or that a lot of people have in other countries or cultures or customs. And so with that power comes great responsibility. And so to have a teenager have that power, for Hope to be able to heal, I almost needed it to be very symbolic of just this power that we all have to choose. It's very intuitive in a sense, but it also needs to be something that teenagers can relate to and understand. And so obviously I didn't want to be preachy, but I did want to share an important message in that your choices are powerful. The ability to choose is powerful. The ability to plot your own course and design your own path and live your life the way you want to. You have so many possibilities available to you, and all of these choices you make are going to pile one on top of the other and lead you in a specific direction. And I so want that direction to be wonderful and amazing. And that's not to say that we're not going to mess up and fail and hopefully we can get back up and try again, but just to remember that our choices, they affect others and they affect us. And those poor choices that we make as teens, we can overcome them, but man, it's a hard road to have to do that, And so I just want to spark discussions in that area, and I want teenagers to think about that and to think about the fact that they're valuable and they're powerful, and what they do and what they decide to do matters, And if my book is capable of doing that for even just one teenager, then that is literary success to me. It just is. And then I also wanted to touch on other aspects of growing up, because life as a teen for me was very difficult. Now I didn't, go through nearly half of what I know most teens do go through, but there were a few things that I dealt with. I dealt with bullying, I dealt with mean girls, I dealt with feelings of insecurity and depression and anxiety, and you couple that with being awkward in middle school and feeling awkward throughout high school, and wondering if you're attractive and feeling ugly. It was very important for me when other members of my family I saw going through the exact same things, and extended members of my family were dealing with that. I know that our teenagers today are walking a very fine line between, what the media says is beautiful and what they see in the mirror, whether that's acceptable to them or not. These types of things I wanted to address, as well as other heavy things, because there are a lot of teens that deal with sexual abuse or physical abuse, either they're facing it or they're pushing it to the side and trying to live their lives without acknowledging that any of that has happened. And so My Fair Assassin, the Paranormal Misfits series, Krista deals with all of these other things. I guess my demons, you could say, the demons that I dealt with, they're the demons that she deals with. And I wanted to address the concept and the idea that different is beautiful. I wanted to address the concept that different is not ugly, that different doesn't have to make you feel self-conscious in any way. Krista is never accepted in foster homes. She never feels like she has a family. She never feels like she is good enough or looks great enough or can ever be accepted. All she wants to be is human. She wants to look human, and she thinks she is. But, she had pointed ears that she had filed down. She has shocking white hair. She can't eat the same things. She can't do the same things. She has these weird powers that she doesn't understand. And she just wants to be normal and accepted. And what she doesn't realize is that everything she is beautiful and part of her and important. And what she's trying to do is change important, beautiful aspects of herself to please other people. And I have the love interest in that book point that out to her. You change the most beautiful parts of yourself to make humans love you. Like, how does that make sense? And what's important is loving yourself and accepting yourself. And so this journey that Krista takes throughout these books, she's working through this insecurity. And I've had a few people read these books and wish that she would, come into her own and be a little stronger. And I've really drawn that out a little more, because for teenagers, it is not a quick fix when it comes to feeling secure in yourself. It's a lifelong journey. And I think that is still the same way for adults. I think that it takes us years to learn the art of loving ourselves and accepting who we are. Some people get it faster than others. Some people are okay with who they are. And I got to tell you, I envy those people, because it took me a long time to get there. And I know that there are a lot of teens out there who feel the same way. And so these are all aspects that I wanted to touch on. And I want to do it in an entertaining way, in a way that makes it fun and exciting, but also makes them think just a little bit about who they are and the fact that they're beautiful and that they're important. and you know that in book 2 there are aspects of Krista's life in the foster system growing up that are not pretty, and I don't touch heavily on the sexual abuse because I don't want that to be the main focus, but I do hint at it. And I hint at it because it is something that I dealt with. It's something that a lot of people dealt with. I refused to face it until I was 23. I wish I would have faced that sooner. I wish I would have got the help that I needed sooner, because when I consider the way that I dealt with relationships and friends and you know, pretended as if nothing was wrong, you know, obviously things would have been a little different. I certainly learned from it, but I want teenagers to feel like there are places to go where they can receive help. I want them to know that they're not alone in these things. And so this is all, I don't know, I just was writing Krista as if she were myself, really, and working through all of these things that I worked through throughout high school into college, knowing that I wasn't alone, even though I felt so alone at the time. I want other teenagers to know that they're not alone. And if people can read that, if these teenagers can read that and feel that inspiration, then that is also literary success for me. Obviously, I want it to be entertaining. Obviously, I want it to be a good product. But these messages that I've sprinkled in these books, it's I just want to uplift people. I want to give these teens, these youth, a little bit of hope, a little bit of perspective. I want them to value themselves, because I don't think that that's happening enough. I don't know that they're getting that in their homes. I don't know what's happening to them, but I'm hoping that they'll find that my books are a safe zone in that respect. And so I have had quite a few emails from teens in India and in Germany and the United States, really all over the world, talking about my books, and how one girl emailed me from Germany, and her English was a little bit broken, but it was still beautiful the way she wrote it. She talked about how she felt more confident in her looks because of, you know, My Fair Assassin and the message that it shared, and that was the whole point. That was the point. I did such a happy dance at that moment right there. For me, it was better than any book award that I ever could have gotten, better than, like, you know, a New York Times bestseller status. Like, that moment was pure gold for me. And I just thought to myself, I hope that I get more of those emails. Like, you know, that was the point. That was the whole point. And she got it, and it helped her, and I was so excited. And then I got other emails from people who weren't teenagers, people who were adults, people who were in their 60s, who were struggling with illnesses, or, you know, feeling worthless, feeling like their lives didn't matter anymore. And you know, these books gave them perspective, and they also gave them entertainment. One woman has a chronic illness where she's in pain constantly, and she wrote me and told me that it helped her deal with the pain a little more. That was great. I mean, that was an unintended side effect of writing, I guess you could say. You know, that these emails where people are interacting with me and letting me know that my books have helped them in some small way. Man, you know, that's it for me. And so I feel like everybody's why is going to be different, but that's one of my huge whys, is that I hope that I'm writing things that are going to speak to people no matter what their age is, but especially to these teenagers. And I find it interesting that these books resonate with people who are older, but then I've got to remember that even though I'm 35, I still feel like I'm 18. You know, even though you may be 40 or 50 or 60, you can still feel a little lost in this world. It happens. It takes a while for people to find themselves, and everyone is different. So another very good question that kind of coincides with this was, how do you navigate the obstacles that you face when it comes to seeing this literary success, or, you know, toward this vision of literary success? The biggest obstacle was fear. Fear of being vulnerable, fear of sharing too much, because I thought I didn't necessarily want to be the face of this. I didn't want to get behind this. I just wanted to, you know, write my characters and not necessarily put so much of me into them. You know, if I share too much of my own struggles and my own worries and my own concerns, you know, is that going to leave me open to ridicule? Is that going to leave me open to judgment? But at the same time, I feel like that doesn't matter. I had to get past that. I had to get past myself and my own insecurities, and recognize that for, every person who has never been in this position and doesn't understand these types of situations or these feelings, there are at least 10 other people who will. There's going to be people who resonate with this material and with these messages, and other people who won't. And that's okay. That is okay. I don't need to please everybody, getting over that fear and just recognizing that in order for other people to resonate with my message, I had to be relatable and accessible and throw myself into them. And that's what I did, which was why I put those notes in the books, letting people know that I had experienced abuse, that I had dealt with it, that I had worked through it and moved on, that I understood the consequences of that, and what can happen if you don't. That's why I talked about accepting yourself and loving yourself. It's why I talked about important choices that you make. It's why other teenage books that I write are going to deal with these topics. I just think that it's very important that I lay it all out there, no matter what. There can't be a barrier there if I want to be able to build a relationship with the people who read my books. And I do want to build that relationship. I want people to be able to feel that message, and they can't feel that message if I'm not willing to get over my fear and share what I can. So another obstacle is overwhelm, feeling overwhelmed, because there is so much to do and there is so much to write. And I just take it one day at a time, because I recognize the anxiety that I deal with when it comes to writing books and making sure that they're perfect. And, maybe I can't write it. I shouldn't write it if it's not going to be perfect. I have to take it day by day, step by step, like anybody else, because you can look at someone who's written a book and who has it published and think that they've got their crap together. But in reality, what you don't see is the messy house and the crying children and the guilt that you feel because you're not sure if you worked enough today or if you paid enough attention to your kids today, or, there's so much that goes into it. And so, you work step by step, you take it one day at a time, and you have a game plan. And so that's how I've worked through my obstacle of overwhelm. And then the other obstacle is just the learning curve that is being an author and a self-published author, an indie author, because you're learning both sides of the spectrum. You're trying to write better and learn to write better, and that is a process that never ends. You're constantly learning to better yourself in your writing, and you have to be willing to be open to that. You can't ever say, I am the best writer in the world. I don't need any more criticism or critiques or suggestions from anybody, because the minute you close yourself off to constructive criticism is the minute that you stop progressing. So, that's a constant process that you perfect and do your best, and that's a lifelong process. And then just the learning curve of knowing how to do all of this, technical stuff, the software and everything. You got to look at it and have the mindset where you sit there and go, okay, this is something that I need to learn, and it doesn't need to be learned immediately. I will take my time. I will learn this thing, and then I will learn the next thing, and then I will learn the next thing. And that learning curve can be a bit of an obstacle, because getting started is the hardest part when it comes to anything that you do, whether you're writing, whether you're learning how to build a mailing list, whether you're learning how to write emails or market your books, or use an autoresponder, whatever it is you're faced with, the new thing that you've got to do to further your business as an author, or an indie author, or even a traditionally published author. You focus on that one thing, and you do it, and you move on, and you don't let fear or overwhelm or, the intimidating learning curve get in your way, if you can help it. And as long as you can do that and remember your why, it's not going to prevent you from that literary success that you're looking for. Everybody's ideals are going to be different. Everybody's obstacles are going to be different. Everybody's view of what success looks like is going to be different. So write it down and, figure out what that success looks like to you, and then list the things that could prevent you from doing it, just like you would if you were writing a book and you had a character whose goals and wants and needs are right there before them, and then you've got to list the obstacles that are going to prevent them from doing it. Turn yourself into your own character, and then write yourself into a happily ever after, or at least the beginning of one incredible journey. because that's what this journey is. It's incredible. So I appreciate the questions. They're really great. It really had me thinking. And if you guys have any more questions, by all means, ask them. Go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe if you like this video. And then I will hopefully start making a few more videos about a few aspects of writing. I've had a few questions on plot and structure and character development. I'm really excited to get started on those. So I will get working on those, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.